Hi everyone, welcome to the class once again. I hope you're all doing good and in the best of your health. So after learning the theory of this chapter, electrostatic potential and capacitance, let's understand some question based upon your board examination pattern. And let's see some question based upon this chapter. The first question, it's a 1 mark question. So first two questions are 1 mark. Does the charge given to a metallic sphere depend on whether it is hollow or solid? Give reason for your answer. Now if I show you the two kinds of sphere, the hollow one and the solid one. Two kinds of sphere. Now if I provide charges on them, Q and Q. Now we all know that in case of metallic spheres, charges always reside on its surface. It doesn't matter whether it's hollow or shell, whether it's a hollow or solid. You know, charges will never come inside. When it is solid sphere, it will never come inside, and it's hollow, it will always reside on the surface. Why is that so? Because under static condition, in a conductor, if charges come inside, electric field will start existing inside and charges will be flown freely towards inside the conductor. That's not feasible, that's not possible. Hence, that's why charges always reside on the surface. It will never come inside because there is no field existing inside the conductor. That's not possible. That's the reason behind this, that charges always reside on the surface. Next one, we have question number 2. For any charge configuration, equipotential surfaces through a point is normal to the electric field. Justify. If I draw any kind of equipotential surface, let's say this is an equipotential surface, and let's say we have electric field here. Let's say we have electric field here, this is an equipotential surface. Now, I have shown you the real scenario, it's in this way. Now, we all know that delta V is 0. Delta V, that is change in potential on an equipotential surface, is 0. That is no change in potential. Potential at every point on the equipotential surface is same. We all know that delta V is equal to negative integral of E dot dr or dl, whatever you want to mention, you can mention with proper limits. Now understand, since this delta V is 0, so this has to be 0. And if I move along this, E dot dl I should get as 0. Now understand, if electric field would be directed along this sense, if it would be having a component, tangential component, Et, then that means that if I move along the surface, I can integrate E dot dl, I will be getting some finite value of delta V, and that is not feasible, that is not possible for an equipotential surface, that has to be 0. So this Et part has to be 0, so this only will be 0 when only component is this along this sense, perpendicular to the equipotential surface. So this is not a possibility. Electric field cannot be along any sense except perpendicular to the equipotential surface. This has to be a reason. And work done while moving a charge on an equipotential surface is also 0. Hope that you have understood this part. 3 to 5 2 marks question. 2 point charges Q1 and Q2 are located at R1 and R2 respectively in an external electric field E. Obtain the expression for the total work done in assembling this configuration. In any external field, you have placed two charges. Q1, let's say potential here is V1, Q2 potential here is V2. We have to find out work done, obtain the expression for total work done. Now understand, when I bring this charge Q1 from infinity to this potential V1, the work done will be QV1, and work done in bringing the second charge will be QV2, and since there will be potential energy associated between these two also, so there will be third work done due to the potential energy, so that will be K Q1 Q2 and the separation between the two R12. I have used the concept of potential energy here, that is I have used the change in potential energy is equal to work done by external agent, I have used it. So net work done will be sum of the 3. It is just a method we do not have to do any calculation. So QV1 and here we have Q1 and Q2, so Q1 and Q2 Simple. We are done. We are done. This is the value of work done. Hope that it's clear. That's it. It's not too tough for us to make it out. The value of work done. Fourth part, calculate the amount of work done to dissociate a system of 3 charges, 2 of 1 microcoulomb and 1 of minus 4 microcoulomb, placed on the vertices of an equilateral triangle of side 10 centimeter. Equilateral triangle, 1 microcoulomb, 1 microcoulomb, minus 4 microcoulomb. You just calculate the value of potential energy associated between each pair, and the energy that will be associated, that will be only the work done which you need to dissociate them. That will be the one. So, if I evaluate 1 and minus 4, so I will be getting K 1 into minus 4 microcoulomb, so 10 to the power minus 12 divided by, and the separation given here is side 10 centimeter. So, 10, 10, 10 each in centimeter. So, divide by 10 centimeter, you will be getting 10 into 10 to the power minus 2, so 10 to the power minus 1, and plus again K, and here we will be having again 1 into minus 4. Rest calculation part is there, and between 1 and 1 we will be having K 1 and 1. I hope that it's visible up till this end. Hope that it's clear to you all. Divided by again 10 to the power minus 1. Simply add them. 9 to 10 power 9. So 9 to 10 power 9, 9 to 10 power 9, 9 to 10 power 9. You can keep K outside only, and 10 to the power minus 1 also you keep here, and 10 to the power minus 12 also you can keep outside. So you will be getting 10 to the power minus 11. Minus 4 will give you minus 8 plus 1, minus 8 plus 1 will give you minus 7. This is the value of energy. So, this will be 9 into 10 to the power 9 into 10 to the power minus 11 into minus 7. 9 to 7, 63, minus 63 into, here you will be getting 10 to the power 9, 10 to the power minus 11, 10 to the power minus 2. This is the value of potential energy associated between them. So, hence you try to understand that energy associated between them comes out to be negative, that is, this is stable. Again, to dissociate them you have to give this much amount of energy. So, to dissociate the work done or the energy that you have to do, that will be 63 into 10 to the power minus 2 or 0.63 joules. This much energy you have to actually provide so that you can dissociate it, because the potential is negative, it is stable. So, you have to provide this much, just opposite. Next thing, next question, draw a plot showing the variation of electric field E and electric potential V with distance r due to a point charge Q. Electric field E is given as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square for a point charge. This question already we have done in previous chapter also, and this is how field varies with respect to distance. And for potential we know that for a point charge it is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r, and I have to show you here. So, again it is a inverse law will hold, when r is less V will be more, and inverse law holds. Here it is only 1 by r variation, here E equals to 1 upon r square variation is shown in both the curves, although looks same, but a bit difference is there about the kind of variation that both will follow. Next thing, let us go ahead with the next question after question number 5th. 3 marks question, question number 6. Derive the expression for the electric potential due to an electric dipole at a point on its axial line. So, we have an electric dipole, you have to find the value of potential. So, V we have to find minus Q plus Q. Let us say this length is A and this separation from the center is R, where we have to evaluate the value of potential. So, this part becomes, already we have mentioned it as R, and from this plus Q charge it will become R minus A, and from minus Q charge it will become R plus A. Simply just evaluate the value of potential. Let us say due to plus Q charge it is V1, due to minus Q charge it is V2. So, V will be V1 plus V2, K Q by R minus A, and here you will be getting minus K Q by R plus A. K Q may take outside, 1 upon R minus A minus 1 upon R plus A, simply add them, K Q, R minus A, R plus A, R square minus A square, and here you will be getting R plus A minus R will be cancelled out, and here we will be having A plus A, 2A. Now you see 2A into Q, you will get that as P, so Kp by R square minus A square. Remember this value of potential due to the dipole at an axial point. Depict the equipotential surfaces due to an electric dipole. I am showing you all here the value of the variation of equipotential surface for the dipole that you can see here. See, first of all, here we have minus Q charge, here we have plus Q charge. The perpendicular bisector, this will be an equipotential surface, the perpendicular bisector. And now for individual charges, you see how the potential equipotential surface will vary. This is how the electric equipotential surface will be for the dipole. Here I have drawn circles for the charges. This is the variation of electric equipotential surfaces in case of an dipole. This is equipotential, this is equipotential, here also equipotential. Same for the charge at the left hand side. Equipotential surface where the potential is equal. There is no variation in potential on the surface of the equipotential surface. Let us go ahead with the next one. Question number 7. Define an equipotential surface, draw equipotential surface in case of a single point charge. Define equipotential surface, I am just going to read it out. Equipotential surface is that surface where there is no variation in potential, where there is no variation in potential, the potential at every point on the surface is equal. That is an equipotential surface. In case of a single point charge, you have to draw equipotential surface. In such case, first part, it's spherical, okay. This is the case of the equipotential surface for point charge. In a constant electric field in z direction, why the equipotential surface about a single charge are not equidistant? First of all, in the case of constant electric field along z direction. So, let me show you that, let us say this is z direction and let us say this is y, and if I mark this as x, so I hope that you are getting the sense. X axis is here, y axis is towards you, z axis is towards right hand side, x cross y is z, so our sense is right. Electric field is directed along the z direction. This is the case of electric field. Now, how will be the equipotential surface? It will be parallel to xy axis. This will be the equipotential surface in this case. Okay. So, this is the case of equipotential surface. in this case, why the equipotential surfaces about a single charge are not equidistant. That means, now see, if these two are there, the third one if I draw, it will be somewhere here. It's not equidistant, this is different distance, this is different distance. Why is that so? Because understand that V is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R. It's an inverse law. It's not that V is proportional to R. V is inversely proportional to R. So if I say that R is equal to 2, so it will become V equals to K by 2. If I say V equals to R equals to again 4, so it will be K by 4. So it will vary first 1 by 2, then 1 by 4 times. So that's not a equal variation. That's why they are not equidistant. This will be different separation, that this will be different separation as the potential varies. This will be unequal separation between the equipotential surfaces. Hope that you are getting each of the points. Some points you have to actually think on your own. You have to think on your own mathematically, making the equation and thinking, then you have to reach on to these things. Next question we have, let me see here. Oh, it's a capacitor questions. Let's try to do it. 3 identical capacitors C1, C2 and C3 of capacitance 6 microfarad. So each one is of 6 microfarad. Let me mention 6, 6, 6 are connected to a 12 volt battery as shown. Find the charge on each capacitor. First part, it's a simple question. It's not a complicated diagram. C1 and C2 6. You see this, the way they are added. We can say both are in series. Equal capacitance in series, so net capacitance will be equal to, due to these two, 6 and 6 in series, that will be 3. So I can make the configuration somewhat like this. Here this equivalent of 1 and 2, I am making this as 3. Now 12 volt battery, now just imagine these two are in parallel. These two are in parallel and the charges that will flow. So if I take the net equivalent, this is, let's say, C equivalent due to 1 and 2, so I am marking C equivalent 1. So net equivalent capacitance due to all this will be 6 plus 3, 9 microfarad. So charge that has to flow from the battery, that will be Q equals to CV. So 9 into 12, that comes out to be 12 into 9, 108 microcoulomb. Now it has to distribute itself. It has to distribute itself. First of all, let me distribute here along these two. Now understand that the potential that is on this part, that is equal to 12. So charge coming on this will be, let's say, Q1. So Q1 is equal to 6 into 12. That is 72 microfarad, and here 3 into 12, 36. Q2 charge, if it appears here, that will be 3 into 12, that is 36 microfarad. So 36 plus 72, that is 108 that we have evaluated. So here we have got 72 microfarad and here we have got 36 microfarad. Just come to the original circuit. Original circuit was this. 72 microfarad has to exist here. That's simple. And 36 microfarad has to exist here. We all know that 36 has come. So 36 will be on this and 36 will be on this. All values are given in microfarad. This is what the case will be. Don't think that 36 plus 36 that will account to a 72. Don't think in that way. It's the capacitors which are actually in series. So I am just showing that same charges appear here. The charges will be 36 and 36 on both, and that is the net charge that comes through the battery. The equivalent capacitance of the network that we have evaluated already, 9 microfarad. The energy is stored in the network of capacitors. Energy is stored. The total charge you see, that is actually 108 microcoulomb. Equivalent capacitance is this, and energy is half CV square. You can use this. So you will be getting half, C is 9 and V is 12 whole square. So this will give you 72 into 9. So I think 9 into 18, 8, 1 and 9 is 63, 648 microjoules. Microfarad, this is in volts, yes, okay. Microjoules, that will be your answer for this. Half CV square, you can actually use this. Next, let us go further. Hope that you have understood. It's a simple question. Five marks question, ninth question. If two similar large plates, each of area A having surface charge density plus sigma and minus sigma are separated by distance d in air, find the expression for field at points between the two plates and outer side of the plates. Specify the direction of field in each case. Such cases we have done. Two similar large plates, each of area A having surface charge density plus sigma and minus sigma. Plus sigma and minus sigma, okay, and we are having separated by distance d in air. First of all, let us say the field due to 1 will be sigma upon 2 epsilon naught. Field at points between the two plates and an outer side of the plates. So, between the two plates, you see, due to this one, sigma upon 2 epsilon naught, due to this one, sigma upon 2 epsilon naught. So, total it comes out to be field E net, you just check sigma upon epsilon naught. And on the outer side, due to this one, sigma upon 2 epsilon naught, and due to this one, sigma upon 2 epsilon naught, that gives us E net to be 0. Similarly, for here also E net at this side also will come out to be 0, only between the plates the net field is sigma upon epsilon naught. The potential difference between the plates, now you can evaluate the potential difference between the plates. You see the electric field is sigma upon epsilon naught. Potential difference, we know that V equals to E into D, I am talking about magnitude. So, sigma upon epsilon naught multiplied by D, sigma D upon epsilon naught, that is easy. The capacitance of the capacitor so formed, again that capacitor that so formed will be, if I write here Q by A, or we can write C is equal to Q by V, and if I write the Q by A, so this will come out to be, you just see Q and V is here sigma D upon epsilon naught. So, if I check it, sigma is Q by A, so epsilon naught A by D, you will be getting this, or you can leave it here. Two metallic spheres of radii r and 2r are charged so that both of these have same surface charge density sigma if they are connected to each other with a conducting wire. In which direction will the charge flow and why? Simple question, we have done such question. The one which is having higher potential, from high potential to low potential charge always moves. Two metallic spheres of radii r and 2r are charged so that both of these have same surface charge density. R, let us say sigma. So, Q appearing on this will be sigma into 4 pi r square, let us say it is Q1. For 2r case, same surface charge density, Q appearing here will be, that is sigma into 4 pi 2r whole square, 4r square. This is the value of Q2. Now, let us talk about the potential. We all know that the surface potential, if I join it with wire, if I calculate its potential, V1 will be equal to surface potential I am talking about, that will come out to be K Q by R, and its potential will be V2 K Q by R. So, K sigma 16 pi r square by R. Just check, its potential V2 is higher. So, charge has to flow from here to here. This will be the flow of charge, since because the high potential, it is a low potential when you connect it. So, that both of these have same surface charge density if they are connected to each other with a conducting wire, in which direction will the charge flow and why. So, charge is going to flow from this sphere to this sphere because this is at higher potential, this is at lower potential, they will flow till the potential becomes equal, or the charges distribute in the ratio of their radius, which I have shown you in our regular class lesson. So this was the 9th question. 10th one, obtain the expression for the potential due to an electric dipole of dipole moment P at a point P on the axial line. So this part we have done. So because we have done for electric field, we have done for potential. So this part has been done. So I'm not going to do this once again. Now you all read this one. Two identical capacitors of plate dimensions L cross B. So we have L as the length, B is the breadth, and plate separation D. This is the plate separation D. Have dielectric slabs filled in between the space of the plates as shown. So this is plates, dielectric slab is filled. So capacitance will increase K times. And here you see we have two different dielectrics K1 and K2. So you can think that two different capacitors are connected in parallel connection. Obtain the relation between dielectric constant K, K1 and K2. Now see two identical capacitors of plate dimensions L cross B, here see L cross B and the plate separation D have dielectric slabs filled in between the space of the plates as shown in the figure. First of all, if I talk about the capacitance, that will be given as epsilon naught A by D. That is very simple. And then area you can express as epsilon naught L into B. And now you see, you have to see that two identical capacitors are there. And then you have to show the relation between dielectric constant as given here, as per the given relation. So what to do, let me just write at the other end, you just take note till here, I will just write at the other end, take note till here. Okay, now just you see that what we need to do actually, if I write this as after inserting dielectric slab, so after dielectric slab when it is inserted, so capacitance will increase K times, that what we know. So C1 I am writing, C1 I am writing Kc times, this is what will happen. So K epsilon naught A by D it will become. Now in this case you see, in this part K1 and K2, capacitance if I try to evaluate for the next figure, for second figure, if I write directly the value of capacitance, that will come out to be K1 epsilon naught A by D plus K2 epsilon naught. Why A by 2? Because area will be reduced and distance D will be the same. So this will comes out to be epsilon naught A by 2D K1 plus K2. This is what we are going to get for the capacitance in the second case. So I am writing this as C2. That will be far better representation. So both are equal. This capacitance is equal, relation we have to find out. So C1 equals to C2 you may do. So you will be getting K epsilon naught A by D is equal to epsilon naught A by 2D K1 plus K2. And finally, if I reduce these terms, so I will be getting K equals to K1 plus K2 by 2. That is it. Very simple relation between K, K1 and K2. This is the relation that we were actually looking for in this case. So it was simple questions. I will request you all to practice more in this chapter. That would be of great help to you all. So this is all the 10 questions that I had for you all for your practice. Simple, some good. You all practice more to actually gain your potential, increase your potential. So just practice more. That's it. I wish you all the very best. I'll meet you in the next class. Till the time, thank you everyone.